真的，他们的榜都好高啊！你看我的榜，我的榜很低的。
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Radiant team ban. TNC's turn to pick. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
War Chief.
Crystal Maiden.
TNC's turn to pick.
Soul Warlord.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. TNC's turn to ban. Radiant team ban.
Hello and welcome back again. We're here for the Kiev Major qualifiers for the Southeast Asian region. It's TNC Pro Team versus Mineski in the grand finals of the lower bracket, and the winner of this is going to Kiev. Best of 3. Lovely Luminous Inverse. Sir, how are you feeling about this game? How are you feeling about what we've seen so far in these qualifiers? What's on your mind?
I like you call me Dr. Luminous. I'm a life coach.
Doctor. I'm not going to do that. But.
All right, so what I think about the game so far, TNC has been looking up, and more up. They've been playing better and better with each progressing series, and I think that's kind of what you want, right? Going into the most important match. Aggressive. Like, they like to fight, they like to push, they like to take objectives. Troll are really, really good at that. I think the first game they last picked it. Last game they second phased it, and now their first phase they think is that strong.
Yeah, maybe it's also just like realizing that last game it was a must-win. Maybe TNC were feeling comfortable up to it, holding back the troll, and now thinking that Mineski could ban it out in the second phase, they decided to take it early. So this to me does definitely feel like it's the hero that fits within the style of Dota that they want to play. And you can also see they're banning out the Naga Siren. They don't want to run into that split push potential. They also banned out the Miracle Weaver, who's been a real sight to behold throughout these qualifiers. Really impressive play from them. But we'll have to see what the rest of their answers are going to be. And it's also been with this Nyx Assassin. The Nyx Assassin who's been played in the offlane role with a Slaughter running. This is everything that TNC want. What do you think about Mineski, though?
I think Mineski's got a couple of things going for them as well. Ooh, Alchemist. All right, so I'm not sure if they watched that game, right?
I mean, you've got to, right?
Yeah, you got to watch that game. And yeah, this is the exact same lineup for TNC. And Alchemist just did not have the time, at least in that game, to actually come up online. I mean, he got his Radiance pretty much in the standard time, but by the time he got it, the team just fell apart. However, I think Mineski does actually have the strong lanes to actually kind of propel them into that mid game. Dazzle in particular, to me, is actually a very strong laner against the Nyx Assassin. We saw kind of max poison touch against Nyx, and even with the double mango, he was actually having a lot of trouble kind of sustaining the lane. And Sam H doesn't like the double mango build. In fact, Sam H goes boots first a lot of times on these Nyx games. Yeah. And I think he's gonna really have trouble sustaining versus Dazzle.
I think that's definitely true. And the other thing that they didn't have in the last game, Clutch Gamers, was that instant disable. And Centaur Warren are not instant, but it is much better than anything that they had on their team previously. So I think that solves one of the problems. Stampede is also going to allow Mineski to fight earlier than we saw in the last game. And I don't expect TNC to have the same level of success, but the draft still remains the same, and the style of play that they're looking for is going to remain the same as well.
Good job for doing their homework. They took out the Mirana from Miracle that he kind of plays a lot in the carry position. Now, last pick, we're going to see a support Venge. One of the Reor special, one of the few teams that actually pick Venge as a supportive role and actually plays it straight up. No fancy carry Venge.
10 seconds remaining.
Reor is one of the best to save his course. Swap is pretty good.
He has been playing a really great qualifiers all in all, and I think that he's going to need to step up in this one. Tim's as well, as you mentioned, with the Slaughter, the combination between those two later on as well, with the swap into a stun could really pull the Alchemist far out of position and be hard pressed to be able to get them out, even with the Stampede. So this is the final lineup for TNC Pro Team. I feel like they have to do well in the lanes. They have to really dominate there and get off to a good start, because none of these players like to play from behind, and Mineski
Ooh.
taking a play out of the Faceless book, are going to go for the Clinks. Do you think it's the answer they need?
I'm not sure how Klings does against a straight up push. We saw previously in the last couple of games, the HP bar just melts. And I just felt like Klings is perhaps too squishy to kind of fulfill that role. And Centaur has to really put his entire team on his shoshoulder.
Well, I think the idea is to never get it to a point where they're going to be able to do that. Never get it to a point where they're going to half line. And granted, the problem out of Mineski outside of the Alchemist to really push waves. Like, I guess Dazzle, Ninja Boogie, excuse me, it's not Ninja Boogie playing, it's Jules who's going to be playing the Dazzle. I just clicked on the wrong one there. He is going to be able to try and pressure out the waves, the Shadow Wave up there early, but it's questionable. He needs to put himself at risk by doing that. So we'll have to watch and wait and see. Early ward placed out mid here. Nobody from the side of TNC TPing to lane. They are all heading out together and most likely going to be going for a smoke gank that might mirror this little angle right there.
Yeah, a lot of teams now just use that first smoke to place wards, and this is a very calculated decision by TNC to say, we're going to let you place any wards, we're not going to be able to scout out your wards, but in return we like the opportunity to go force at first blood and likely pick up a couple of runes while doing so. We are going to lead the charge. He's got even a pair of dust under him just in case that he does run into Miracle.
Yeah, and it looks like right now, Mineski backing out, but I believe that was scouted.
Oh,
maybe by
Smoke's going to break. Ninja Boogie is going to give it the first blood.
Nicely done. They find him. Not going to be able to get any more, but that first blood going to Sam H. Well needed for him. That's a great hero to get the first blood.
Yep. Did he start with boots first? He did, but that means Stout Shield if he wants it.
Yeah. Every time. It's a very interesting style to play, and we've been seeing more often than not these teams in the past couple qualifiers willing to go for a... Oh, might need to see if there's a stomp here to steal the bounty rune away.
Who's going to stomp who first?
All right.
Magic Missile, and the rune gets taken.
All right, well, manning up a little bit now. RR is going to go to lane with a little bit of harassment on him. Not bad.
Yeah, that shrine needs to be popped pretty soon.
He might just be able to tango up through this one and try and save it if he can. If he needs to, too, you can pop down a couple of those iron branches and then eat up that tree. So,
I mean... They got a couple of things going for Miracle, or sorry, Mineski. The first thing being Miracle is going to actually win this 1v1 straight up. So that's going to free up the supports. Ninja Boogie doesn't even have to go to lane. He can actually start jungling. So overall, because of the bottom lane, I think Mineski is at least sort of advantage in the laning stage. Although the first blood definitely hurts.
Yeah, and I think that this is a good decision as well to stick the Dazzle into the mid lane, make sure that Bimbo has a good start, and then you've got Tims who's trying to do a similar thing, but he is not going to be able to get the same level of harassment that we saw out of him before. Like an Alchemist, you know, you can pressure, but it's not the same level of dominance, and also there's no courier snipe this time that's going to give him that better start as well.
Right, and I hope the poor man show actually gets delivered to Jay, because he definitely needs it against all of the harassing that's going to be coming his way. Jules letting him know that poison touch is a thing, although not sure if you can actually trade hits against Cuckoo too much.
I mean, they can if they drop down the acid spray as well, and Cuckoo taking a good bit of damage.
Remember, Cuckoo did get solo killed?
Yeah.
Earlier today, so...
They have a big creep wave. They could think about going in at this one and applying a little bit more harassment, possibly. They get the CS there, and they're just going to have to back out. In the meantime, Tims over in the area. They dropped some early vision. This has been a staple of him as well, placing these wards down in areas where they are going to be able to spot out any stacks throughout the jungle. They know when there's something happening, and as well blocking the camps. Although that one was scouted, so might be able to get a D ward on that.
You didn't catch this on camera. That's unfortunate. So both Slardar and Centaur ran at each other. They were trying to fight each other for this rune, so they both used their stun, right?
Yeah.
And they both missed. So I guess RR just grabbed the rune after that.
All right.
That was actually hilarious.
That's fine and dandy. Yeah, they did end up getting that D ward as well over here on this hard camp, so they're not even going to miss a stack from it. which is very nice.
Takes a full melee and range rolling access to the face. It's going to be driven away to the right side, but I think he's done his job. I feel like Jay should be fine, given where the lane he is currently at right now.
Yeah. They're keeping a pretty good tab on this Nyx assassin as well, making sure that he's getting pressured in, and already a level behind RR, who's going to be able to get this pull most likely uncontested, I think. No, all right, they're able to break it up. But nonetheless, it's a nice little combination there. Another poison touch onto Cuckoo, keeping him back, and oh, they need to be careful about it. Bimbo, maybe Cuckoo drops down, he dies in it.
Wow.
So the second time that he dies in lane against an Alchemist.
Oh, that wasn't really the Alchemist. He was just well, it kind of was because of the acid spray, but Shadow Wave does physical damage, and he was sending in the acid spray. Meanwhile, top lane, Centaur getting picked off there.
Yeah. Nice pick. They needed that one as well. So a kill goes their direction, but now you also have Bimbo, who's going to be able to farm out this jungle at least a little bit, eating through these trees as well, so he takes less damage, and Dazzle can hold the lane. Just spam this out against Cuckoo as long as he doesn't step too far forward.
Yep.
All right, so almost 4 minutes in. We'll see where the bounty runes end up going, if somebody's able to steal them at all or not. In the meantime, again, RR compared to the Nyx Assassin, they're right about on the same page as far as levels and all that stuff. But in this game, do you feel like the Nyx is going to be trying to go for that Midas again for him? Oh, Miracle. Oh no. Initiation. Where's the Impale? Where's the Crush?
Is going to be there, and that's going to set up everything else.
Yeah. Nice pick.
I mean, it's really hard for really hard for Klings to not die to that gank, because he needs to keep on harassing the Nyx. Right. But it's always easy for him to spike and initiate on you. Back in the mid lane here, Cuckoo in a lot of trouble again. He might die here. Jade doesn't want to go under the tower, and now Cuckoo turns back, trying to get a couple more pot shots in. But the poison, he had to very fire there, or he was dead.
That is insane. And yeah, showing the power of this early 2 points in Poison Touch. It's a lot of damage, and it does not cost much mana at all. Well,
I think a lot of it is the fact that it does deal physical damage, and Cuckoo is just stubbornly sitting in that acid spray.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, you can see TNC here continuing to pressure Miracle to the best of their abilities. They're going to find another stomp there, but maybe in a little bit of trouble. The Frostbite is out as well. A couple of those Searing Arrows, and that will force Tim's back. It's kind of crazy to me that the Dazzle mid is forcing the Troll out of lane. And like, he has to come back here with the salve now.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's the fact that he's died so many times, he's bought so many salves that he's delayed his bottle. I think because the regen factor is just not there, Dazzle's effectiveness continues. Imagine if he did have a bottle, I imagine Dazzle would just be gone from the lane now, because he won't be able to continually pressing down on Cuckoo.
And all levels, this 70 mana cost on the Poison Touch too means that you can just really spam it, particularly with the CM aura there. Now another stun onto Miracle. They're going to be able to control him, kill him. Yep. Dazzle not there in time.
That's the problem. You put your Dazzle mid, no Grave on the bottom side, and I think they should make this adjustment. Maybe put the CM mid if necessary. Trying to pour it out.
Almost. Oh!
I think they should have tried a Nova and the Heal Bomb. Might have been enough, but fortunately both those spells are still level 1.
I think that also he was looking to get a little bit closer to ensure that the damage was there. So makes a little bit of sense, but yeah, frustrating, I'm sure. So 1-4, TNC leading in terms of kills, but because of that Alchemist, they're still not too far behind Mineski.
I think it's more so that the kills have gone on to Miracle. That's an issue, because he's supposed to be the one that disappears from the lane relatively soon and start applying pressure everywhere. He's supposed to be the Nyx, right, for his team. But because of the kills on him, he's really unable to really start roaming. You want at least Soul Ring and Power Treads, at the very least.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's very far away from finishing that.
Quite a frustrating turn of events, I'm sure, for Miracle. And again, we saw on his Twitter profile right before this that he was, you know, tweeting out, the time is now. He's really amped up for this game, and they put so much pressure on him right at the start.
No, maybe he's just pumping up himself.
Getting to his final form.
Yeah, this is it, he says.
Yeah.
Maybe this is not it, though, because he's like 0-2.
Well, nonetheless, battle continues against this Nyx Assassin. We have seen that the pressure has sort of fallen off a little bit. They tried this move up here in the top lane to see if they could kill off the Centaur, but does not end up happening. Heads up play right here by RR. And they are going to keep the pressure on. They give the healing ward away too. This kind of is going to at least hold back the pressure onto the tower. Yeah, and TNC have to back.
So I think we're seeing a very strong adjustment being made by Mineski here. In the game that TNC ran over Clutch, I don't think the Alchemists really showed up too often to defend their towers, and Acid Spray is actually a heck of a defensive spell, right? So I'm glad that he's actually showing up to make these defense and not allowing TNC to just roll their tier 1s for free.
And I think part of that too is that the Nyx Assassin, like, he's having himself a good lane. Later on, it's going to be more scary for the Alchemist because he can end up getting just picked off by a Carapace Vendetta if he does show there. But
oh, Miracle gonna get ganked again. Magic Missile into a crush. The TP is not gonna be enough, and Miracle is gonna go down.
Look how late that TP came.
I mean, that was from an Alchemist. That wouldn't have mattered at all.
Are you sure? I thought that was from Jules.
Or maybe it was. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I think again, it's you know, you can't hate on it too much, but if you know he's gonna die at that point, using the TP not the best. So 1 in 5. Hopes and dreams right now on Bimbo, but he is going to need to really carry a lot of weight right now. And Crush onto Tim's, okay. Stampede, Hoof Stomp, Double Edge, that's 1 kill.
Yep. Pretty big one for the Centaur to pick it up. 1,400 gold, not too far away from that blink.
We're going to get the D ward for him as well. So that's a nice little start. And in the meantime, they have been able to take down the tier 1 tower, and Raven forces the Clinks back before the Omni Slash comes out.
Yeah, Miracle is just not having a good time at all. This is the reason why Black always gets a good lane when he plays Clinks, because this hero has essentially a limited time window where you want to be effective in the kind of the early-ish to the mid game, and without having the good lane stage, he's actually just a liability to his team right now. He's not going to be able to roam the map and put up pressure. So not exactly sure what the game plan for Miracle is.
The plus side of it is that you do have a support in the Slardar who does not want to buy detection. He wants to build towards that Blink Dagger, and Venge also is not necessarily like completely the same route, but it's nice to get some more farm on her as well. So in my eyes, if they can get at least Clinks to any sort of amount of farm where he's any type of threat at all, that kind of can make up for maybe his bad start a little bit, as long as the Alk is still having a good game.
I mean, we've seen the Alk having a good game alone is not enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Bottom lane, we're going to see
another
kill.
Oh, again, not coming out for Jules.
And Jules really late to these TPs, and now he's going to get surrounded by 4. He grave himself, but
I mean,
he's trapped.
Yeah, there's nothing he's going to be able to do there. Gets a heal bomb out. That's about the long and the short of it. And Sam H finds another kill. 2-7. TNC are just all over him.
Yep. And at the point I was trying to make before that is Alchemist getting farm alone is not enough. If you look at the net worth graph, it's Alchemist and then 3 Dire heroes. And now Tim's coming to the jungles, trying to steal some creeps, and he is going to get at least 1.
Yeah. It feels like TNC have come up with a great answer to this type of draft. And as you said, you know, I imagine that Mineski did watch that last game and maybe just not feeling like wanted to try their own hand at dealing with this draft. Like they felt like they could deal with it, but
I mean, honestly, this draft hasn't really kicked in yet, right? Tro and Juggernaut hasn't really done the Tro and Juggernaut stuff yet. It's more so just getting outplayed in the laning stage. I think Mineski expected to win their bottom lane, which, to be fair, they have the lane advantage with the Clinks versus the Nyx. The problem is that Miracle just dies like 8 times, and now they're gonna make a go here to Tibbs. It's gonna be a 4-man gank. They are gonna get the kill,
and they give it to Miracle. That's really good.
Yep.
So something at least going back into the favor of Miracle, as Mineski struggling right now to find an answer. And I mean, it starts with that, but it's certainly not enough as of yet. They're moving in towards mid now, trying to pressure this out. We'll have to see if Mineski are opting to come and defend. It looks like the answer is certainly yes.
Yep. I'd like to see actually Ninja Boogie taking up his Nova, because I feel like even though it's not a very strong nuke, it's pretty much all they have as an option to actually, you know, at least soften up the push a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Acid Spray, as you mentioned, is there too, but this is the big problem with the draft as a whole, is that you've got CM, who's not a great D pusher, you've got Dazzle, who can be, but he puts himself at risk, and moving in towards Roshan now. Besides that, there's not a whole lot of other answers for it, and with Rosh going down, this to me just feels like a carbon copy of the last game. TNC are going to run down these lanes, take down the towers, and Mineski need an answer. They will have the Radiance online much earlier than we saw in the last game with Clutch Gamers, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough.
No, the Radiance alone is not going to be enough. He needs Radiance bots and Manta, which, you know, gonna take a while to get there.
Middle tower has fallen.
And Nyx can go in for a Spike Carapace stuns too if he wants when that acid spray gets dropped. And that is when things get quite scary.
Here comes the tier 2 push, and Jules doesn't even have access into Weave yet. He's maxed the Poison Touch, which is going to apply a stun, but because of that Healing Ward being available, it's actually doing 0 damage.
Yeah, Klink's bottom lane pressuring this tower down, but we'll see if they decide to take a fight here. Very scary moments for Mineski, and the answer is just, we'll hold high ground.
Yep. Well, the Blink is available to the Centaur, so if they're looking to make one big fight, they can. And again, the danger of losing a team fight against an Alchemist is always very high because of the net worth swing.
Well, I like what Mineski are doing in response, because this is what they have to do. Go farm around the other areas of the map. You know that they're all inside your jungle, so Miracle is going to head into theirs and maybe look for a kill as well. And if not, he can just farm up this area, try and get himself into something. And that way you're at least not completely held inside your base.
All right, they're pinging out top, but oh, can they cancel the TP? No, Raven completes it. So he's out to safety. I think Miracle could consider backdooring tier 1 towers, like straight up, and he's doing that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you're going to get 3 tier 1. So this is something that Klinks can still do despite not having, you know, the excellent items.
Right. Yeah, and you're still getting that farm on the Alk now. He's got his Radiance. He's moving around the map, going into bots next. He's only about 1,000 gold from that. The answer, or the question is now, what did TNC do? Can they take down the rest of these tier 2 towers?
Oh, for sure they
get
can.
themselves another Aegis and think about going high ground?
Well, if you're going to wait to the next Aegis, it's going to be a long, long while. So I might give Mineski more time than TNC would like. And you got to keep in mind they're working with the Alchemist, right? So I think TNC, we really have to kind of push the button a little bit here with the Aegis.
All right, well, they're at least moving out along this bottom lane, trying to pressure at Mineski again, doing the best things that they can, trying to keep this creep wave pressured out. But Alchemist now forces TP back. They're in on top of them. A good hoof stomp on top of them as well. Crystal Nova, there's the catch on a Cuckoo as well. But can they bring them down? The healing ward is in the back, and nobody is able to take it down. Jules just walks up and punches it. So that stops the push, at least for the moment.
Yep, but that's half damage at the tier 3. They did get a tier 2 fully completed out of the top lane as an exchange, and that's actually pretty big. I like the item choice here from Klinks. He goes for 4 staff first. When's the last time you've seen that from a Klinks? But he understands he's not going to carry the game by going a Dragonlance or Deso. That's not his role. His role right now is to help his team to survive and hopefully win late. I think that's the only way that TNC could win, or Mineski could win right now.
And to be fair, they're doing that. Like, you take down both of the towers in the top lane. You're now in a position where maybe the Nyx can find a kill. They go onto RR. Don't know if that's necessarily the play. The stun is going to come out in a second. They have the Stampede to try and run. Cuckoo, though, in trouble. It's going to fall. That's the Aegis already down. Sam H, realizing he needs to escape, is going to TP, but RR goes back in. They cancel the TP for Sam H. Can they bring down Bimbo? Sam H is still falling low. They turn to fight. Omni Slash is there, still not dead as of yet. TNC are going to lose Tims and might end up losing more. No, the Armlet, it's already down. There's the grave. The chase continues. TNC, have you overstepped your bounds? Raven might have ended up falling as well. They throw out the stun, but it's not going to be enough, and Rior's going to fall as well. 5-man wipe, ultra kill for Bimbo. It's 16 minutes, and that's what they needed.
That is a comeback. You're going to see this goal graph, and it's going to shoot straight up, and I honestly think that TNC, perhaps one of the few rare occurrences where they are just super aggressive. They had the lead, but they just thrown it completely away. It's not just about the 6 kills that Mineski's got. It's about the time that they have purchased with those 6 kills. And
the Aegis gone.
Yep.
That blows my mind. So Yasha done now. How does this sort of switch up now? Because you're also looking at a lineup from TNC that's not the best at coming back into it or playing from behind. Not that they are at this point too much, but it's a little gold advantage. Pretty big.
I mean, TNC still has the picks. If you look at the heroes they got, they still got the Slaughter and Nyx, right? They still have the minus armor that could extend them into the late game in the form of Corrosive Haze, as well as Way of Terror. So I wouldn't be too worried for TNC yet, but this game went from a freebie to now they got to work for it.
Yeah. And Again, a smoke play, now feeling bold as brass. Mineski moving across the map. They will run into most likely Sam H on the high ground. And they actually have dust as well, so they're going to spot it. Oh, they wait for the pop in the dust. Yeah, and they're going to miss that potential for a kill. So, well, it does not end up being a huge play. TNC still in a good position. And they have the blink on Slardar too.
So here's the thing though, I don't think Mineski needs to make any huge plays after the fight that they just had.
Yeah.
They just need to draw out the game and kind of go late. Now, you can make the argument that Troll, Warlord, and Juggernaut can scale into the late game and actually tackle toe-to-toe versus the Alchemist, but I don't think it's as simple as that. You got to keep in mind that Alchemist will give an axe to the Centaur if need be. Well, actually, Centaur is working towards his own axe, but, you know, Dazzle getting an axe is a huge part of it, too. And CM could also get an axe and give TNC a bit of headache. Yeah,
all of them. I mean, Clink's obviously is nothing, and Alk isn't really anything either, but it's a little something, the extra stats. And I think that, too, the big issue is that, like, it's not even the super late game when everybody gets ags. It's even just that point when Alchemist is 6 slotted. And how do you deal with him at that point? I don't think that they have the tools to kill him off and stand toe-to-toe, because there's enough stuns, there's enough disables that are out there. Maybe with BKB Troll, they'll be able to stand up to him.
The key problem with killing an Alk after the Manta Style is that your best damaging spell, the Corrosive Haze, gets taken off whenever he wants. Yeah. So you need to apply it and then reapply it, which, you know, that's a lot of time where, you know, he's railing on your team.
All right, this could be the play for them, although they're heading out the wrong direction. Expecting that was going to be where they TNC are. Maybe they're just trying to, like, rush down the towers. Oh, they expect that Alchemist is going to push it out. This is a really good play. They realize that Bimbo is going to go farm out this wave.
Dazzle's there, so I'm not sure if it's going to work out. Smoke breaks, they're going to go. They need a Stampede and get Dazzle in place. Dazzle comes in, drops a heal bomb. Grave very early, and now the ult's going to get popped off. Jay is ready for this. The Omni Slash is going to fly out. It's going to be right next to the tower. And now they're going to try. Oh, and what a force staff. I believe that was from Miracle. And now it's going to be Raven in a lot of trouble. Jay is chasing for the kill. He will get one. And now the rest of TNC is just running with the tail between their legs. Reor going in on the right side, but the plan has failed. They've only gotten Miracle, but Miracle is the support Klings at this point. Jay moving forward. Reor going to get stunned up, and Jay back to full HP. And that is a dead bench.
And a bounty rune to boot. Why not? They're all over him. Mineski doing a great job. I think that they also didn't even reveal that they have a ward on the high ground because he tossed the stun before they went up the steps. So every little thing, you know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, Mineski making the plays that they need to, and now this graph is going to shoot even further ahead. Yep. Almost 20,000 net worth on this Alchemist at this point in the game, and he's never going to look back.
Yeah, and we're starting to get into a point where Mineski, when they win fight, it's not just time that they're getting, but now it's objectives. It's tower, it's Roche. And it is a big concern for TNC fans out there.
So, another Troll ulti used just to get these Ancients. We're still a little ways away from Roshan. It's actually going to be a really short timer as well, which could favor Mineski. If they could get in there, I think it might be worth it for them to at least attempt Roche. What are your thoughts?
I think it's more about not giving it to the Troll than having it on a Klings or an Alchemist themselves. I don't think they need the Aegis, but they would definitely not want Troll or Juggernaut to pick it up.
Now they're going to back out after seeing that it's not there. 10 seconds away. Bimbo himself is going to back out as well. And
Raven's switching things up here. You don't go. He's not going for the standard diffusal blade.
Oh, that's Miracle. What? Do you have vision? Miracle looking?
Maybe,
what?
No, maybe he just clicked into the trees and he got past because there was a hero there blocking, right?
Oh yeah, and he's gonna that's probably what happened, and now he's out of there. All right, well, Juggernaut made it work, and now he's out. They're gonna do the split pushing game. That's what they have to make happen.
You're playing the out game now, though.
Yeah. Alchemist is a monster. Like you were talking about earlier, all of these Aghanim Scepters he can give away. Which one do you like best? I mean, it looks like Centaurs wants to build into his before Alk could give it to him.
Probably the Dazzle, but it's not really higher priority anymore. It's really the Centaur that you care about the most, and if he's building it for himself, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, like, Or maybe could have just went straight Refresher and gotten an act, but obviously the Alchemist could go, you know, items for himself. Octarine into Shiva Star, that kind of stuff. And they're going to be able to steal the Roche away from TNC as well. TNC need this to have a shot.
Well, Bimbo picks it up. We've got the Alk out along in his merry little way. Gonna farm some more. Can do whatever he wants from this point forward. Miracle, who was so hemmed in the early stages, is still lacking a lot the net worth that you would want on this hero. So I think that Mineski are making the right decision here. If they lose Alchemist this game, if he dies, it's just as much of a swing back into the favor as TNC as that one team fight mid happened. So I like the decision from them to play it safe, get him the Aegis, and make sure that before they really go for another big engagement, they end up getting some more net worth on this Clinks and these other heroes. Although that being said, they're jumping in on top of them. The Hoof Stomp going to catch onto 2. Jules going to be force-tapped to the low ground and looks to be fine for the moment. They're also going to break the TP at the same age. He goes down. So they lose the Nyx in that attempt at a gank.
I can't say how many times Miracle's 4-staff first has saved his allies, like 2 or 3 times. And when you were behind, and now even when you're ahead, saving your cores or saving your heroes it's always good, right? Like, even from a carry position.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why OD is like one of the top tier picks for so long, because there wasn't another carry that could play that same type of, you know, saving ability. So they're moving in now. Feel like the time is nigh for taking some more objectives. Age is still in hand, building towards that 10k net worth lead, taking down towers, and Miracle scouting the whole way through.
That's 2 more towers, relatively for free.
Well, they're pressuring it on, and looks like there is some pressure that's going on the top lane as well. Can they actually force a reaction, though?
Well, Alchemist is going to TP in,
Well,
and that'll be the end of that push.
looks like the tower is just about to fall. They should be able to get a deny from this one. Yeah, if they want to. They might just hold on to it for the moment, though. And in the meantime, Raven, you mentioned that he did not go for the Diffusal Blade, instead going for the Maelstrom, and now finishing off the Mjolnir off the back of it. I'm imagining just more about the split push, less about the all-in on the team fights.
Yeah, it's also a very good item to get versus the Radiance, right? You put it on yourself or one of your teammates, and it's going to proc as often as possible because of the Radiance burn.
I like the decision from TNC to be going for the rest of the Midases as well, because the game plan right now to me feels to be more get your farm on whenever you can and then try and stay away. Actually, it looks like Tim's went back into a Force Staff afterwards. So I thought he had the Midas queued up, but decided to switch it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they really need the Force Staff to take the fights, but maybe saving somebody from our Stomp, I suppose.
Oh man, Bimbo again in the mid lane. Like they're smoked up behind him. They're ready to go.
Look at his net worth.
He's got an AC. He's sitting at almost at 1,070 GPM at 25 minutes. This guy is crazy farm.
All right. There you go. The Manta takes off the Corrosive Haze, but they could haze him a second time, and they do. So I think Jay should respect this. He gets swapped back into a straight crush. They need the Grave. They do have the Grave. In fact, he gets pushed back out. The Grave was rather early. Now they're going to focus on the Venge. Crystal Maiden drops O in a pretty good spot. Now she disengages. Crystal Maiden will go down. The Miracle will go down as well. And now the haze up onto Jay. Jay will Manta it off. And now he gets spiked. He's stunned up. He wants to fight this perhaps. His ultimate is down. He's actually walking in. He wants to take this fight. He sees Raven. Raven spinning away. That's a two-man stun. The ult comes back in. He sees Rior. Rior is going to get 2-shot here. That Radiance is doing so much work.
What?
And the impossible boss of Jay. In fact, he's not giving a chase 3 heroes. He's like, okay, you come to me.
He's going back in. Are you kidding me? They're at the shrine.
All right, he needs to Manta off this haze again.
I mean, they're on top of him. There's the Crush, the Impale as well, the Spike Carapace. He's still not dying. Has a Manta style after this, but that's going to be the Aegis. The rest of his team is gone. They're all dead. So he's going to need to find some way to take it 3-on-1, and it's just not going to happen. So that is a throw and a half.
That is Jay for you.
Okay, so a couple of things. The Crush, all the Omni Slash was happening onto 2 to keep him in the spot was a huge initiation and a way to find those couple of kills. We're going to see a huge swing of gold back into the favor of TNC. Oh, wow. Wowzy, wowzy, wowzy.
All right, so a couple of things. First, I want to talk about, none of this has to do with the decision-making of Jay there, because, you know, that's just a Jay thing, right? Let's talk about his item choice. The AC instead of the Shiva's Guard. You see Shiva's Guard so much more frequently for a couple of reasons. When you pop the Shiva active, you get the nuke out of there. That's more regen off your Octarine core. And the attack speed slow, although not as relevant because of battle trends, will make you somewhat more tankier over the AC. The AC is much more of a defensive choice, especially when you're pushing for buildings. R needs to blink out right now.
Oh, he's going to get caught, though. They got the Frostbite. There's going to be the Impale, the swap to put Rio in position for the stun. Now chasing further. Can they kill off the CM? She's amped up, so no way out. There is going to be another Blink Crush available. They find Ninja Boogie. Ninja Boogie is going to be brought down, and Alchemist, you know, he's back up again, but there's some pressure being put on by TNC.
There's a lot of pressure. The second issue that went wrong in the last team fight, it was that the Grave went way too fast. I think Jules just picnicked. He saw his carry got swapped in. You know, maybe he thought he would die instantly. And with things like Battle Trance and Corrosive Haze, you gotta be worried about that. So he just popped the early Grave, and they needed
every back to a rejection. They're on the top here. They're taking down the tier 3 tower. Miracle and Mineski in a ton of trouble. There's another Spike Carapace to stun him up. That's one lane of barracks dead. Can they even find any more? Like, there's no Aegis at this point.
They need to get some picks on the way out, but without Centaur. Oh no, Centaur is back. They have Stampede if they want it. Raven will probably spin off the stun. No, he doesn't. Here comes Miracle. He's
controlled again. This is BKB. They're on top of Jules. They're taking down Miracle. Possibly. Can they kill him off? They are going to be able to. The Multiprocs making it work. Jules is going to die as well. Sam H is going to fall, but look at him. They're on top of Bimbo. He's dead again. The crush is there in a second, but they're going to have to buy back on the Alchemist, and that's more than enough for TNC. They've completely thrown this game away. What?
Oh, Mineski throw. Classic. I don't know what to say. They were so ahead.
Yeah.
It just shows you that anything could happen in Dota 2. Anything could happen.
Look at the net worth graph and the experience and just every damn thing. It's really, really hard right now, and well, I'm struggling to see, because like the BKB charges are so important in these fights. You've got a good amount of damage coming out from the Alchemist because of the AC, sort of, but like, and the Radiance is doing a decent chunk. But really, it's like Clinks' lack of farm that we've talked about over and over again. He's still 3,000 gold behind the Nyx.
It's okay before that he didn't have farm because he was really there for the utility, but now in a stage where it's about the right click, it's about the damage, you're just down core. And unfortunately for Clinks, there's really nowhere from the farm, right? Because the nature of Alchemist, he just eats the map. And I don't know what this Clinks could do, really.
You keep talking about the amp damage as well. So imperative in these fights for TNC, but they're making sure that it's applied on the right heroes. And
Tim's is not even level 18 yet. Like,
yeah.
That is not even his final form. I like the item choice here from Alchemist. He's going for a BKB next. He just, I mean, we saw previously in these team fights, he just gets absolutely changed them between Impale, Spiked, Slithering Crush, Magic Missile, everything.
Yeah.
And the Manta is just not enough, and now Cuckoo goes into the pit.
DD Rune as well. This is going down, and with an Aegis in hand, and this tri-core, now a quad-core, as the Slardar overtakes the Clinks and farm as well. I'm really struggling to see how you hold this right now from Mineski. They gotta like cut creep waves. You've got the Ags on Centaur. That will probably make enough of a difference, but I mean, Juggernaut is catching up to Alk. He's still 7,000 gold behind, but you're supposed to be a whole item ahead on this Alk.
Yeah, and it's also tough for the Alk to leave the base and farm by himself right now because of the possibility of a Nyx gank. Alchemist, I do believe he dropped his armlet to fit the BKB, which makes sense here.
Yeah.
And to me, the most important player is RR and Jules. They need to make sure the protection spells are done perfectly. In that high ground siege that they did on the TNC high ground, they used Stampede as well as Grave when Jules or when Jay was 100% health. That was perhaps the biggest throw as well.
Yeah. I think that it's because there's so much burst damage from TNC that you feel the need to make sure that it gets out in time, but it's still like it just doesn't work like that. You gotta make sure that it's hit right on the money.
I mean, the window. your room for error, like in this game, to cash a grave is actually so tiny because the damage is flying out so fast.
Well, I remember you saying that they didn't need to push up for high ground, and it's really come back to bite them. You think that how long ago that was that they were pressuring this tier 3 tower, and it's down, not even barely below half HP. TNC have really pulled this game back from the clutches, and you've got a Nyx that is so farmed. Blink, Yules, Force Staff, he has a gem at this point. All of these heroes are set up well for the late game. Slaughter has a BKB as well, so he can get in, make sure that he gets that stun off whenever he wants it to. Yep. They're going to need to make sure that these defensive abilities by Mineski are used on point. But
Abyssal Blade.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the way that Jay plays it, right, with the BKB, he's basically saying, look, I'm going to kill you guys in 10 seconds. And I just don't think that's possible. Like, everybody on TNC is tanky. They have items like Force Staff and Glimmer Cape to save each other. And I don't think his team has enough disables to allow him to just go focus on a target within that 10 seconds. And as that BKB gets wear down, he's going to get changed on. All those items that you mentioned on the Nyx is going to just keep him locked down completely.
Well, this is a smoke. They're showing the troll in the mid, but...
All right, it's gone.
This is a scary moment. There's the first stun. Troll ready to walk up on the high ground. Cuckoo with the Aegis. And they are going to go for the stomp to start it. Abyssal Blade is still ready to go from the jug if they want to jump in for it. Cuckoo controlled. Can they get the save? Can they make it happen? Can they turn it around? He's controlled for the moment. They're on top of the Alk. Are they going to be able to bring him down, though? The stun, the bash, it's there on top of him. Jules, it was who really ended up going on with the Juggernaut, but it's not enough. Cuckoo still there with the Aegis. They've already lost the Nyx, though.
They can't chase more than this. The BKB has ran out, but looks like they're going to surround the Troll Warlord. Troll Warlord walking away from that freezing field. His team has abandoned him. He gets frostbitten up. And now it looks like Jay, he wants more. He wants the 2 supports to clean down Cuckoo. It looks like that is going to happen in the front line. They've gone, I believe, one more was Avenge porting out.
Yeah.
This is a big opportunity. That was an Aegis push not working. It looks like the high ground's the bane of these two teams. And now it's going to be Mineski walking the other direction.
They did have to buy back on the Clinks, which is something, but they don't have buyback on Troll.
Yeah, Miracle's not a...
I think that they can actually make this happen.
Yeah,
like honestly, even for tier 4s, if they wanted to try and like really go for it, because it's to the point now where it is starting to get pretty scary. They're moving in with the mid lane. The tower is about to fall. They end up getting the glyph, but will not regen any of that HP.
All right, Nyx is back. Nyx is actually going to slow down this push by quite a bit thanks to Impales and
all right, they're not going to go for it any further. They're just going to take the melee.
Jay is going for, or sorry, Miracle's going for the racks. He's going to get swapped and stunned immediately. The Grave.
They graved the wrong. What? Oh, they graved the illusion. It does look like he's still going to get out. Well, lift.
No, he's done.
Oh man, I can't. Oh, jeez.
I mean, he was dead regardless whether the Grave hit him or not.
Yeah, it's just rough. This game for Mineski to get so close against Faceless yesterday, and then also to be performing at the highest level that we've seen out of Mineski in so long. There's a ton of pressure on these guys, obviously.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know who's really ahead at this point, right? Both teams will run Raxus. I think I still might want to be on the Alchemist's side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to argue at this point who's actually ahead. I think TNC is slightly ahead, but just for the nature of what an Alchemist can do.
I just think that, like, right now the Clinks is so underfarmed that I don't know if... I would want the Alchemist on the team. I wouldn't want the Clinks on my team. We put it that way.
All right. Here comes the high ground. The Weave, in particular, is going to do so much work. Cuckoo going forward. He's going to get Who Stomped. He's going to get stunned up as well. The BKB from Jay. They swap him back in. That means Tim's in a lot of trouble. He pops a BKB as well. They want to kite Mineski outside of the base, and Mineski will not oblige, because that's a quick way to lose this game.
Yeah, they're out of there. They're good. The Weave, like you mentioned, it's on top of them now, about to wear off. And it looks like everybody from TNC is going to go back to farming for a little bit.
So whenever Jay plays Alchemist, he has this thing where he switches items like 80 times. I still remember the last major qualifiers where they had an 80-minute game against Fnatic or some other team where he went through, like, I don't know, 8 items. 8 new items apart from the 6 that he's got. So my question is he going to switch more items, or is he going to get Axe for his team?
I mean, I think that you probably need to get some amount of farm on these other guys. Like, Miracle has had this Deso queued up for the past probably 12, 15 minutes.
All right, he's going to get it now.
Like, you need to be able to get the farm on somebody else in this game to get them some more damage out. And probably, like, the CM is the best bet.
No, I think you put on Dazzle. The weave is actually what's giving them so much more survivability, especially against the Troll and Jug. So that's my bet where the ad goes.
You can't get caught out here though. This would be terrible, and they are going to run into him. Hoof stomp there onto Tim's. The stun on a Sam H as well. They swap him back out to try and keep him alive. Ninja Boogie controlled for the moment, and does look like Bimbo chasing down Tim's. Going to be able to find one kill. Can they get any more? Grave is there onto CM. Cuckoo trying to find a target. Has finally found Bimbo, but he gets stunned as well. Now turning back in towards it. The Manta illusions are on top of Cuckoo. Mjolnir proc still going wild. And they can continue the chase. They take down the Centaur, looking for more. Sam H is there. He's stunned up Bimbo. They've got Raven on top of him as well. Force Staff trying to save the day.
They got Grave again. They got Grave again.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be enough. No, he's gone. They can't even do it, even if they did find it.
And you've got to keep in mind the buybacks are running out. They bashed, canceled out the TP. Miracle looks like he's alive for the time being, and he's going to port home. They ping out the mid-raxes again.
They just don't do anything.
Like, Jay needs to buy back now, but even with the buyback, okay, he's got the BKB back up.
I just, like, TNC's heroes do so much more right now. They buy back onto 2 and continuing to build up this lack of farm on some of the heroes. Alchemist is still there, but...
I question the Grave on the Crystal Maiden because who cares if your Crystal Maiden dies? There's actually no point, and there was a good 5 seconds where Mineski was unsure because they had the 2 Manta illusions surrounding the Troll. It's like, do we back up? Do we go? And that moment of indecision to stay there made them lose, what, 3 more kills and 2 more buybacks? I think if they said, okay, CM, you got Grave, you're going to die, we're going to just run. Good luck.
Right.
I think they would have been in much better shape, but I mean, hindsight's 2020. So.
I like that they've gotten at least a little bit more farm on Miracle now. The Deso is going to be able to at least threaten the supports, which is what he has to be able to do this game.
I mean, they have Glimmer Cape, they have duels, they have so much.
Oh god. All right, they're forced to pop the Stampede to get the Centaur off the cliff. And everybody gearing up for Roshan. This is going to be one of those, game-determining factors as another smoke play by TNC. They're going and calling out right down mid. We'll see who they can find.
I think they want to actually go through bottom.
They're going to break the smoke on Miracle. Do they have reveal? They have the gem. Miracle caught out outside of the base, just runs into hell. TNC is there.
No buyback, 1 minute without the clinks, but is that going to be enough for TNC to go high ground? Nope, it's going to be enough for Roche.
Yeah. And Roche is up and online. TNC going to push out mid, move in towards there, and in a great position to lock out this game number 1. If they can possibly make it happen.
You think this game's over? I don't think this game's over yet.
I don't think it is, but I think that they're in a good position. Like, they have everything that they need to try and end the game.
That's true. I agree with that, and looks like Jay is going to start his musical chair of items. Or items, not items is.
Going back for the Abyssal?
Sure. I mean, he needs to lock people down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just trying to do it all by himself. That's the goal for him, but... Man, I still think you give Axe to at least Dazzle.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it is a pretty cool upgrade. It also increases the AoE of it. You increase the Scepter armor per second, so 1.75 at max level. He's only 1 away from that 18. It ends up being quite good. And yeah, just a bigger AoE as well. All right. Ready to go. Let's see what they can do. Mineski backs up against the wall. Can they hold on in this game number 1? Oh. Force staff there. Drums for CM. They're getting into position, wanting to hold on to this fight. And it's the Butterfly almost done for the Troll, but obviously buyback status is going to be really important this game. Cuckoo gonna go in. Hitting onto that tier 3 tower.
All right, minus armor on top of him. He's losing HP very rapidly. Look at that. Ooh, that weave.
Top tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
you gotta be careful with that, buddy. They got the heals coming in for him, but the urn canceled for the moment. They'll wait until the weave wears off and then probably go in for another round, I would imagine.
Oh, Jules, be careful. Don't get swapped out. He is, I don't want to say the linchpin of the team, but a big factor. Like weave and engrave.
Yeah.
It's going to be how Mineski is going to win these fights.
He goes MKB instead of Basher. And also, I mean, still doesn't have buyback, so it doesn't matter. But
what is he dropping? Octarine or Manta after he uses it?
yeah, I guess. He needs it to deal with the evasion from the troll, though. So it makes sense to me. Still looking to go in here.
I mean, if the pacing of the game stays like this, the Aegis will wait out. I imagine TNC is going to make a play sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, they can kind of make sure... They want to make sure they take the perfect fight, though. That's the other thing.
They have the time to wait, so it's okay.
All right, sending in the illusions again. Backdoor protection, still disabled. They have the butterfly there now, fully completed onto the Troll Warlord. And we already have the answer in the MKB for the Alchemist.
So here's the thing right now. Alchemist is putting the Mantis out into his backpack in between to swap through with MKB. The problem was that the Manta refreshes, like, you know,
at a lower rate.
At a much lower rate. I think you actually put maybe the Radiance if you're not using it. He's putting the BOT right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably the best play.
Yeah.
Because he needs to make sure that he can continue to spam this. Otherwise, the creep wave is
Juggernaut blinks on the high ground top here. Tier 3 is actually being under siege.
Yeah, he takes it down quick and easy. Everybody's eyes were over here mid.
Lift was also baited out.
A little bit of subterfuge used, and TNC make the play.
Yeah. Hey, Klings is trying to kill those illusions. He can't. Goes bad.
Oh my god, they're just going to take it down like this. Yeah, you send illusions at us, we'll send illusions at you. What do you think now?
Yeah, Alchemist needs to concentrate on pushing the top wave out. This cannot happen further.
No. Well, another stun going to be thrown. They get the weave onto 3. Whew. But again, you've got the Juggernaut who can push out the top wave. He's invis for the moment. Could think about just going for a Blink Abyssal Blade Omni if you wanted to, if one of these heroes happens to show himself.
Oh, Sentry Ward gets dropped. That's huge. There's a random invis rune on a jug.
Yeah. Still waiting for that opening as Cuckoo is going to step forward. Hit the tower a couple times. This frostbitten for the moment. Tim's jumps forward, threatens the crush. They're going to take down the ranged barracks in the top lane. Nobody's there to defend against it. Cuckoo as well, controlled for the moment. Is going to lose the Aegis here. Now, can they do anything else?
Are they going to surround him is the question. Spike going on. They're going to impale onto Jay as well. Limber keeping him alive. Delusions being sent onto the melee racks. Slow and steady, but Aegis is out. Can TNC just stay in front of the base like they've been doing?
I mean, this is the thing, is that this base hold is so much on a knife's edge, because if one person misplays, they're going to lose everything. But even in the status quo, yeah, they're going to go for the smoke now. They have to make a play, but already everybody from TNC is out. What a heads-up decision to back out of here. Can they get out without any casualties, though? Cuckoo there breaks the smoke. He's trying to run away, but now in some trouble. They have the swap app to keep him alive, and now the Stampede to chase. Can they find anything else, though?
Rior is going to be the first one to go down. Impale hits everybody. The CM ultimate gets just killed. Tim's going in with the right click, and so far 3 dead, and now it's going to be Grave onto Jay. Jay getting completely locked down. His BKB is not going to be enough. They just called GG. They understand that was it.
They needed to do something. They needed anything at all, but it was not nearly enough. And Mineski lose game number 1 off the back of just some really good decisions by TNC, but also Mineski, maybe a little bit of nerves, some questionable decisions about when to go high ground.
I like your diction choice of saying instead of